Hi dear all, welcome to the session.
Hi,
Hope you
sir.
guys.
Sir.
Hi, hi,
Good
hi.
morning, sir.
Morning,
Good morning.
morning, friends.
Good morning, sir.
Good
Morning,
morning, sir.
morning, dear all. Yeah, and appreciate your efforts. Though I received the documents yesterday night and morning also, tomorrow morning. So that shows your commitment here. Okay, so of course you can get the content everywhere and you can sit and do the things, but that sitting and doing that committing is most important. So very good for that. Okay, so later I'll evaluate. So let me see how you have taken the care and how you add your core competencies in that, so that I can suggest something for you, so where you can make use of the other aspects. So apart from that, friends, I have given some other thing. Maybe if I am talking about like the group assessment, like so whatever. But this group assessment is something like is a generic orientation where we follow the agile methodology in our projects and all, and we are making use of some kind of sprint meets and as well as the calls which you usually present. Maybe we are having some tools Jira like that, so where one can easily showcase, one can easily observe the orientation of the appropriate aspects. So if you are referencing the project based aspects, so fundamentally, friends, there should be some observation, like how Bharati is implementing, how Vedant is doing the things, and there should be some I mean notifications board where we can track our progress. Okay, so this is actually a kind of the administration or management where one can easily delve into those developments, because in a way you have to be very confident in the implementation of your task. At the same time, team as a team, friends, one of the important point is manager should identify the core competencies in the team, because the capability of the manager and the efficiency of the manager is so for what purpose Wasim is suitable. And suppose if I am giving some task to Praveen, in what kind of task I can give. So for Karthik, which are all the things I can assign. So these are all the things, okay, which are really helpful in the agile methodology, so as to estimate the members and assignment of the tasks. So that is one-sided, and such kind of the tasks I have given actually. Like maybe if you are not having the data what you want, and how we are approaching your manager or how we are approaching your teammates. So these kind of things, but initially I want to establish these conceptual communication between you, I mean the team members, and let me see how you can, because individually you're having your own capacities and subject and knowledge, that is fine, but how you are leveraging these aspects up to the level of team building and capability building. So that is the main important thing. So that I thought of, okay, rather than giving the project directly, I can make use of these group based evaluation, so that I can add some more okay, maybe I need to take Wednesday additional session. That's fine, no problem. But our commitment is up to Tuesday only. But however, we are making use of one more reserved day. Then generally in the trainings we have that. So suppose if any problem is there due to network issue, because due to the heavy rains we are sometimes missing out the internet connection also. So for those kind of the days, offline will work and will compensate that thing with some other day. But okay, so we have not faced any issues, and fortunately. So, but maybe the Wednesday. Okay, so just I proposed some 3 hour which is related to the project based learning. There I am going to reveal so some 4 different applications I have devised where you can group wise you can work and separate the tasks, and clearly I have mentioned this time the problem statement and what you need to achieve, all those things clearly I have mentioned, including the which are all the concepts you need to develop. So that's what, friends. The first assessment is giving the task and presentation, that I have seen your communication and how you are exhibiting the tasks. And coming to the second one, if there is no clarity in the problem definition, yourself you have to pick up the data and you need to implement the tasks. That is the second thing I have given, because the toughest thing actually, that is, if I am clearly mentioning the requirements and if I'm clearly mentioning what is my database and table, then it is easy for you to come up with some kind of the implementations. But whereas at the moment I'm giving you the chance of deciding your own and implementing your own is a tedious task, because you are not aware whether I am going in a proper direction or how can I. But I thought of giving you the um, advantage of making use of that convention, friends, actually. So let me see, because majority Sahu is in touch with me, Harish, these guys are all offline, they are in touch with me. But let us see how the remaining members, even Srinidhi also, she is keep on updating the progress. All the members, they are updating, but in addition to that, they're asking me whether I'm going in a positive way or like that. So each member is having his own capability, friend. It doesn't mean that always you need not come back and ask the manager or trainer or mentor. So simply you can take your that's what the requirement. And in a way, in between coming back and checking also sometimes helps us, because maybe if they are adding some more points, then definitely we can end up our process in a better way. Okay, so that is the second evaluation. However, I'll be evaluating in the today's after getting all the, I mean, I'm stopping the acceptance. So up to this session, whoever submitted, I'll consider those things, and I will put those evaluation marks in the final report that I'm going to share across the managers or whoever your point of contact. And of course, so meeting the deadlines and all these things are also important, friends. Because if you could not do also, you have to maybe one day before also you are aware of that, 1 day or 2 day before also, whether I am able to do that or I can do this thing only, like that kind of communication is also required in the team building. So these things are also helpful to the managers and all your point of contact to guide your whether this guy is committed or not. To I'm in a way guiding you in those directions also, indirectly. So fortunately, all I received almost all evaluations. No problem. So, but only the challenge is, let me go through the evaluation process and then I will give you the individual report so that you can also have a look, and accordingly you can take it forward. With that, just what we'll do is, however, from today, just we are having afternoon sessions for the sake of the presentations. Maybe batch one, batch two, based on the timing. If you could complete all 4 batches today, it's well. Otherwise, what we'll do is we'll take 2 or 3 batches, and tomorrow afternoon we'll use that particular thing for some other purpose. And however, the Wednesday 10 to 1 session, I'm going to launch that particular project, and there is a clear specification of the problem and all these things were there. and as per your allocated task, and by communicating with the other members, just to take the consent and implement the tasks, and there only will decide whether you need 3 days time or 5 days time, or whichever the time you require based on our discussion in the Wednesday's session. Will decide okay, whether we are going ahead with 3 days submission, 5 days submission, or whatever. Okay, right. So with that, so just will start with our objectives of the session, friends. So we were discussing the stored routines. So a routine, which is a common activity, which is a generic thing, regularly performing its activity without any deviation invariably. Now the point is, in case of that particular stored routine, okay, so just to notify, just we're having two aspects. One we named as a stored procedure, another we named as a function. At the moment, I am talking about the stored procedure. So this particular stored procedure, which is some kind of the process, and majoritarily we are using to perform the insert, update, delete operations. Some kind of processing mechanism, friends, where you can manage with the help of the stored procedure. And generally, while implementing this particular stored procedure, we use this create stored procedure. So create procedure kind of thing, and we are giving the name, and like that we are going to implement. And once the procedure is created, just we call the corresponding procedure name. Okay, like this will follow. So, but if you are referencing, in addition to these kind of thing, we worked with in, out parameters. Sometimes there is a possibility of taking the input and returning the output values, and we can make use of that particular value. If you remember, at the rate symbol we have used value sal avg, like that we have used this particular thing, but we may not directly return the value from the procedure. Only the thing is, the procedure return the value, and that is stored into the variable of the corresponding procedure, and then we may make use of that variable in various functionalities. Okay, so this is we have seen, and coming to the today's discussion, so just we are making use of this particular function, friends, actually. So again, if you are talking about the functions, we are having the user defined functions, and as well as built-in, or I would say the predefined functions. So if I'm talking about the functions, just compared with the procedures, functions are nothing but we can define a function as a task. After performing the task, a function returns a value. A function returns a value. Sometimes, friends, maybe I want to return some value. Okay, after giving some employee number, and I want to get some kind of the salary of the employee, or else if I want to give some kind of the employee name, and I want to get what is the designation of that employee, something like that, some simple applications. And in addition to that, generally the statistical functions or statistical implementations. Okay, so the statistical implementations in the sense count, summation, average, maximum, minimum, like these kind of some kind of the functionalities and some kind of the implementations can be taken. So in a simplest way, a function is belongs to the category of the stored routine, and a function as by nature, by default, taking some argument, and it is definitely written a value, friends, because in stored procedure, taking the argument and returning the value is optional actually. It is your wish whether you can give the input or whether you are not, whether you are receiving the output or not receiving the output. It is all depends on the developer. Stored procedure won't demand any return value. But the main distinction of this particular function is, friends, function is not going to excuse you, at least as per the definition, because it is definitely requiring the input data item, because some value I should give, and based on that particular value it performs some kind of the computing, and finally it is going to return the value. Now can someone help me, friends, in the chat window? What do you mean by predefined or built-in function? Not only in the MySQL, but if you are familiar with any C, CPP, Java, or any other kind of the programming language, how do you observe the built-in or predefined functions? Because every time while using the programmatical aspects, these kind of the programmatical aspects are majority. 1 minute, guys. Just I'm getting a call. Sorry, guys. So, and if you are referencing these functions, predefined and built-in functions, just you be in the fetching of that particular built-in or predefined. And as usual, in the meantime, just we are going to, I'll open up the discussion, and we can discuss on that. Okay, but before that, let us jump into the usage of the function. Just we'll implement some point of these things with respect to the functions. So it is easy for us to delve into the usage and understanding. Okay. So as usual, our favorite workbench, and just we are opening the new query tab, and we're having the employees database and certain tables we're having, and along with that we're having views, stored procedures, functions, like that, various aspects we're having. Okay. And friends, in the weekend, just I populated other kind of the databases also, some old scratch, and as well as some other thing is there actually, album. So let me use these kind of things also in the other sessions, because sometimes there is a chance of using the triggers. So trigger also I will explain through the database employee only. Here and there we'll use some other things also. Um, that's what I have done in these days. I'm doing. So now what we are doing is just we are making use of the initial understanding of the function, because we are familiar with the procedure now, but now we are interested to learn the concept of the function also. For that, the very first statement, however, the delimiter, which is um, which helps us to guide MySQL. Just I am using this particular delimiter, and most importantly, just we need to specify the this declaration of the function, how we have done in case of the procedure. Such the same thing. Just what we are doing is create. So just I am creating a function. Just we are making use of this that particular. First, we'll see the syntax, friends, and then we'll jump into the actual function creation. Okay, so just I am making use of the function name, and here I need to give the parameter and as well as the data type. Okay, up to now we should we are happy like how procedure is how the syntax of the procedure is there. The similar way we are making use of this kind of the functions: create function, function name, parameter, and as well as the data type corresponding. And here the point is, friends, in the definition itself we have to specify the return type of the function. Okay. So here, as per the definition, a function is used to perform a task and which is used to return some value. Okay, so that is the simplest definition we are having in the function. Now what we are doing here is just we are declaring a function with a certain parameter and corresponding data type we have mentioned. And after implementation of that particular task, the function is returning some value. It's meaningful. And one more important thing, friends, here, one more statement we are seeing here. So sometimes, so as to compute the appropriate things, there is always one important point we have to remember. So let me go back to our OneNote. Just I'll explain some kind of aspects. So there is always, maybe you are knowing about memory and as well as the buffer concepts. Okay, so especially in case of the functions, um, let me take some scenario. The scenario is like this, guys. We are making use of employee data, and our requirement is employees who are having the multiple skills or who have done the internal certification. Okay, we are going to give the incentive. So once they complete 1 year, along with the appraisal, that means increment, these guys are eligible for the incentive also. Maybe 3 or 5K Amazon vouchers based on the kind of the training they have taken and based on the kind of the skill they are having. So in this particular case, observe here, guys, actually these increment and incentives are not there in the table data. So what table data we are having? Only we are having the salary and variable pay and all, they are separate components, but we are scoping this particular thing into the annual appraisal. Maybe as per our thing, April, maybe we get this thing in the May. Assume that. Now what we need to do is we have to pick up this April payroll. Okay, so whatever the salary component we are having, to this particular salary component, after getting this, directly I cannot use this sal into the computing. So what I am doing, variable sal. Okay, so this particular salary I need to declare. So how I declare? Declare vsal in the program. And now what we are doing is just we are posting this sal into vsal. As I am directly, I cannot use, okay, maybe I can display the data, but if I want to manipulate something on directly on table, we cannot do na. So because it is a programmatical construct, we are using the PLSQL aspect. So in each first you need to copy the data into the variable in the program, then only you can manipulate. Now the final salary, okay, equal to, so whatever the salary I'm having. However, incentive and as well as the hike, these things also separately available because these two values are not there in the actual table. Okay, so table only contains the employee number, name, designation, project, and base salary. These things are there. But if I want to compute this kind of final salary along with the salary value taken from the table, and however incentive and hike value also we are having in the program only. So incentive, whatever the incentive, maybe for Praveen, okay, he has done some multiple certifications. Accordingly, the hike and incentive must happen. Suppose Harish is there, he has published one article. Okay, and that article is published in somewhere very IEEE or Scopus Indexed journal. So we want to give a nice appraisal and incentive for that achievement. So it all depends. Maybe management decides how we can go and like that. So the similarly, the declare variable. what exactly it helps us is maybe some of the values directly we may not use in the computing process. So in that particular case, temporarily you need to create some kind of the variables and you can implement the tasks whatever you want. So on the same lines, what we are doing is just we are making use of this declare. So this particular declare helps us to define some kind of the variables, and along with that variable name, I have to mention the data type also. Okay, so just I need to mention the data type also. And once this is done, as usual, friends, our logic begin, and just we can make use of the select statement, all these kind of the logic, whatever the logic we are applying. And one more important thing is here, before ending the corresponding statement, we are having the return value actual. So after performing the implementation, just we need to return that particular variable name, whatever we have declared here, and then only you can end the application. And as usual, now you can mention the delimiter back to our normal specification. See, only you have to observe that this return statement is one update compared with the procedure, because that particular return statement, as all we are mentioning, like whatever the value we want to return after performing the task, just I can take the return statement. If I am comparing the procedure and as well as the function, at this moment, initially in the declarative part, the procedure is not taking, maybe optionally it is taking some inputs and it is going to return some, it's not going to return any value. It's not mandatory to return any value by the procedure. But if I am talking about the function, that particular function is something which is taking the input parameter, and definitely after performing the computing or after performing the task, it should return the value. So that is the understanding. Now one more addition to this particular thing is as I am performing some kind of the computing logic, definitely that particular code requires the programmatical variables. So with the help of the statement declare, I can able to declare the variable names and the corresponding data types, and then our logic, whatever the logic we are performing, and finally you are going to return some kind of the values. Okay, so and moreover, this parameter we are talking, so this particular parameter, uh, suppose while working with specifications, we are not specified any in or out kind of thing, friends. Can someone give the reason why? Because let me take some procedure. I'll take some procedure. Yeah. So let me copy this thing to our this thing so that it would be easy for you also to compare. Just you see here, friends, these two statements I'll pull to our OneNote, and here we can discuss. And even I can copy into our chat window so that you can have very good. I got some answers. Moment. Hmm. So if you see, I have shared something on the chat window, guys, which is depicting the distinction between function and as well as the stored procedure. Clearly, it is indicating that in case of the function, okay, just there is a return value and all these kind of the conventions we have seen. But whereas if you are referencing the procedure, yeah, this is the distinction. Now, procedure, there is a possibility of the output parameters and even you can give sometimes input output also. We have seen that example also. So explicitly we are mentioning the input and as well as the output parameters. If you observe friends here in the function name, uh, we are not explicitly mentioning the output parameter, though we are claiming that function should return a value, but there is no usage of the output parameter. Reason behind is simple. Explicitly, every function for every function, it is mandatory to return the value. That's what MySQL. It is not depending on the output parameter. If I am scoping the output parameter, that means that you may or may not use the output parameter. That become optional actually, because as how we are following the procedure. Um, so if you are making use of the input and as well as the output, explicitly you can mention. But the function perspective is bit distinct, guys. Like, it is not optionally returning the values. It is mandatory to return the value. That's what in the definition itself, in the syntax itself, just along with the function name, we're having the return value. And all the parameters are input, because you need not explicitly indicate with the word input. At the same time, as I am having the return value, I need not return I need not mention any output. So in and out, if I am mentioning, those are all optional. Maybe according to the requirement, the user may or may not use. But if I am mentioning, if I am talking about the usage, like, whatever the functionalities I'm having, those kind of things must and should specify the corresponding parameters in case of parameters, procedure parameters. But in functions, there is no such kind of need, guys. Okay, so all the parameters are there, so which are really helping us. And whereas if you are referencing the return value, which is compulsory return the outcome from the function after implementation, and then we can make use of our general procedure. So these things, once I complete the implementation of our first function, so definitely you can observe more distinction. Okay, what is the difference between the procedure and as well as the function? So accordingly, you can easily observe that. Okay, so I am also so excited so as to create a function and just will make use of that particular function practically. So just if you are referencing the function notation, friends, the very first thing is a delimiter. So our commonly you either you can use double slash or double dollar, but most commonly used delimiter is the double dollar. We are also following the same. Now what we're doing is just I am establishing a function, create function. Just this is the statement we're having. Just we are taking the employee average salary. So initially, so I'm making use of this 11, maybe related to our date. And then what we're doing is just we are making use of parameter employee number I'm taking. And here we are mentioning the data type of that. And it is must and should return the value, no? Returns the data type you have to give, because as we are talking about the average, it is something like the decimal value. It is not may not be the integer. That's what just we are mentioning this value. So create function name, argument list. Here only one value I am taking, employee number of type integer, and we are returning some kind of the decimal value, floating or real value. And once this is over, so just we are making use of the begin statement. And then as mentioned earlier, this is a logical begin actually, and I can declare the variable. So I want to take that particular average salary, so that I am declaring that thing. And see, this is the IntelliSense where MySQL Workbench is supporting us. So just as usual, how we have mentioned the return value there. Similarly, we are mentioning the return of this average salary. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm selecting as usual the select statement average of directly we are using. So we are having s dot salary value, whatever I am having into just I said no. So whatever the value we are populating, that that value can be equated or assigned to our declared variable. So rather than typing every time, so to avoid the typo and to go ahead with that variable, just we are taking that v average salary. So just now this average salary is equated to this v underscore average salary, and now what we are doing is from. Okay, so however employee, this is the employee data. So employees we are having actually, and e, so which is the alias name, and thereafter employees e, and thereafter we are using the join operation because I want to get the information. Okay, so where I am picking the data from salaries also. So salaries yes. Okay, salaries yes. Now we are having two options now. One is on and second is the using. And that day while discussing joins also we have seen. But in general, friends, don't go by using until you prepare the table and you only using the table, then you can know that our salaries and employee data is having the same kind of the employee number. But whereas sometimes you are somewhere some members are defining the tables and some people are using the tables, maybe developers in general use the existing tables only. Okay, so in that particular case it is always preferable to explicitly mention the on, and like how we are mentioning emp envo, that is already suggesting us, and yes dot here fortunately we are having the same kind of the thing. Okay, so here the join statement is getting the information from both employee data and as well as the salary data, where they're having the equal this is something like inner join kind of thing where we are comparing and all. Now there is a trick, friends, actually. So where just first we need to compare e dot employee number equal to, if you observe, actually we are taking this employee number. So we are not giving the employee number in the query. So that is the advantage of the function actually. So once we attempt to execute the function, function should ask us on which employee number I have to run this particular query. So in that particular case, just you can equate this value. Okay, so to our query, whatever the query I am having. Okay, and one more important thing, once this thing is over, I have to return some value. So just you refer this thing, friends, which value we have to return? Can someone help me? Which value we have to return?
Decimal value.
No, okay, that is fine. Out of these particular things, or else I'll give the options whether I need to return the P underscore employee number or V underscore average salary.
Average salary.
Yeah, this one only. Okay, this one only, friend, because we have defined this value and we are making use of this particular value, and that should be returned. Okay, so and then we are ending that end means double dollar if I am specifying, and I am coming back to this delimiter. Okay, delimiter as usual. Okay, good, thank you. Now have a look on this, guys. So just at the outset, this particular function is telling many things to us. So the very first point is taking the arguments and returning the value, that is fine. Another important point is there is a provision of using the declaring the values declare with the specification of that particular declare, and the declaration generally allows the usage of the variable. And now we are selecting the appropriate statement. The select statement is something like so where it is giving us the finding out of the average salary, and we are equating, we are assigning that particular data to the v underscore average salary. And of course, this statement remains same, employee C, and is a typical join condition. We are observing salaries and as well as the employees data, and based on the equality of the employee number. And guys, one more important thing where we are taking this employee number is our intention is to read the employee number from the user. Okay, maybe as our in the scenario we discussed it now for Harish or for Sahu, we are going to give some kind of the appraisal on the basis of the publication. Maybe for Praveen and Bharati, we are going to because they have done some kind of the certificate courses. Maybe Srinidhi and Sai, they are attending the internal trainings. So based on their interest, we cannot impose them or insist them. No? So based on their interest, they can attend and get the certifications done. So in that particular case, explicitly, whatever the value I'm giving, for that value only, it has to compute the corresponding incentives or whatever. It has to compute the appraisal and final salary. So, and at the outset, the final statement is written value actually. So though we are mentioning that the function performing some task and it return value explicitly with the help of the return statement, and that return value is also you need to declare that return value, friend, because from the table only you can make use of the table data to display. And if you want to use that and if you want to perform some computings, definitely you have to store that data into some other variable which is defined in the program. So to achieve that particular purpose, we are having the declare statement, and this declare is taking some value, and like that we are also making use of that average salary to store the value computed by the select statement, and finally we are going to return the value. So this is the understanding. Now at simple, so just we are selecting these statements and we are trying to run all the scripts, and we are getting one error actually. Have a look on this, friends. So this error, this is showing the entire logic. And now I need to focus on this particular error. Let me copy this row because I should talk something about this. What exactly this error is. Okay, so 1 minute, guys. Most important point, and every programmer, okay, while developing these kind of the functions should know what's happening here. So have a look on this, and yeah, I'm interested because the entire statement is our creation only. So we are no longer interested on that. Now just have a look on this, friends. So this error is not leaving us, it is saying something to us. The point here is very simple. This function has none of in the sense at least one. Deterministic is not there. No SQL you have not mentioned. Reads SQL data in its declaration, and binary logging is enabled. Friends, here logging concept is much more important. Okay, because while working with especially the concept of the functions, if I am saying some kind of functional execution, so this particular log files are playing a vital role, because even administrators and all those members, they are dependent on this particular log files. So log files are nothing but the contents as a part of our execution, and as a part of our applications. MySQL is going to generate some kind of the log content. Those particular log contents helps us to observe or understand what's going wrong or what else. Okay, if everything is fine, then log file won't create any trouble for us. So if you are referencing, especially if I am talking about the concept of the functions, these particular functions helps us to create some kind of the information, and they are going to return some value based on the computing. So one important point we have to remember is in the declaration of the function, you have to use the deterministic value or NoSQL value or reads SQL data. What I am doing here is, guys, just now I am scoping these particular things so that by giving either of these three, we can run the program and we can achieve the function creation. But what I will do is I will share some document with you. So in the meantime, just to have a look on that. However, today and tomorrow you are having tasks, no problem. But still, okay, just I am parking this particular discussion. Maybe tomorrow I'll come up with the analogy to explain this particular deterministic NoSQL or reads SQL data. But as of now, what I am doing here is let me take this deterministic and copy. Now let us move to our workbench. So see the surprise. So just where after giving this thing, um, just you can mention the deterministic. Now you try to run this. See guys here, it created a function without any error. Okay, earlier I tried without giving this deterministic or whatever, but it opposed us. It opposed us. So now you can see the function is created. Now the thing is, as per the documentation, so what we're saying, none of means if I am having at least one, it should execute. Now let me copy that NoSQL and let me paste into this thing NoSQL, and here I am commenting this. Okay, so just let us have a look on this, or else our standardized comment section. So just you can make use of this convention. So just to follow one common convention, and I commented this and I am scoping this NoSQL, but still we get the error, friends. Already function is there. No, that error will get function already exists. So in that case, what is the remedy? So just you can go to the employees and click on this. Um, this is giving the schema, but I want to get the database objects. Here I'm having some kind of the functions and refresh. Okay, so what is the function name just we have created? emp avg sal 11. So right click on that, drop. Okay, drop now. Again, you click on any function, refresh. Now there is no more function called avg sal. Okay, now we are coming back to our general discussion. Now instead of this deterministic, we are giving the NoSQL, because as per the syntax of that particular function, either you can give the deterministic or NoSQL or reads SQL data. These three statements together you can give, or else you can give individually also. Okay, now let us run this thing. Now we could able to create the function. Now let us comment this particular thing also, so that for the first time we'll see all the functionalities. Next functionality is reads SQL data. Okay, now again going back to this employee schema. Schema we don't want employees, and here just you can refresh. Again we'll be getting the function. Right click on this, drop. You can drop the function. Now you refresh, that current function is no more. So again go back to this thing and try to run the code. Okay, because all three we have tried, the third one we are trying, in fact it is correct. Okay, and another option, friends, I'm keeping this thing along with normalization. Okay, just you can use this deterministic and then delete. Okay, so NoSQL together now, because they said either one. Let us try together also. Okay, so but again it is going to return some error for us. Okay, now you should go to the employees, refresh, and you drop this particular kind of the function. Drop now. Again refresh. No more. Come back, try to execute. See, friend, because MySQL is full of concepts actually. Many topics are there, but only we need to spend some time and understand that particular aspects. The point here is, guys, I intentionally parked that why deterministic, NoSQL and reads SQL data. There is a logic, and moreover, remember this error code actually. So this particular error code, not this one actually, procedure. Yeah, this error code important. 1418 friends actually. Okay, so uh, this particular error code 1418. Let me paste it so that in the after completion of this thing also you can observe. So let me format this thing, guys, so that you can make use of the convention. So the error code 1418. Yes. And before that, I know I'm not requiring anything. So this particular error code guide us. I can make use of deterministic, NoSQL or reads SQL data in its declaration. And don't enable the binary logging, guys, because binary logging enabling is not our functionality. Maybe the members who are taking care about the administrative aspects, or those members they can observe, right? Okay, so that is what if you are referencing the consideration of what exactly the process, based on that particular process we can able to run the function. Now the pending task is we have done everything, and but already just you can while running this particular thing we got our function creation. Just you refresh again. Now we are in the position to use that particular function. Now with this, just how do you access or how do you process this particular function? That is also one of the important thing, because while working with that procedure, friends, we're having that call. What exactly call does is call directly initiate the procedure, and you can run that particular procedure with the call. But now if you are referencing there is no call in the function, actually we are having the select statement. What is the name of that function, friends? AVG. AVG. Um, Actually function name is this one, select F function employee average sal 11. Now we need to give the name of that number of employee. So what is the number of that particular employee? We have earlier also we have given this employee number. So 11300, which is from the employee table. Okay, so just I have given that particular thing like this. Okay, nothing else, and it should return some value for us. Let us see how it is going to do. To run a single command, just I am clicking on this. Okay, just it has outputted your function name. Along with the function name, it has not given any table information or something like that. Just it has given the function name, and it is trying to output the average salary of that particular member. Maybe you would have joined with us in 2010, and up to now what is the average salary? We want to find out that particular average salary, so that we picked up that particular value. Another way of implementing the same is here, friends, like uh, or else let just to click on this thing and click on these functions actually. So here it is not. Yeah, now it is there. Okay, just to refresh, friends, if anything is not to get affected in the schema. Now what you can do is just you can click on this thing. It is giving us a separate narration, and if you click on the second option of this function, it is allowing us a dialog box actually. Okay, if you don't want to type or if you don't want to use the select or something like that, just go to the schema, and within the database just to select the corresponding function whatever we have taken, and accordingly you can pick up that particular function, and you give the number of employee. So here you can directly mention whatever and execute. Okay, whichever the means you want, you can specify. This is something like automation, and you can easily see that as a process of the automation, you can observe here like how our code is little modified, because we mentioned a few aspects, friends. If you compare the our data and as a part of the generation of the employee average salary 11, though you are giving internally, MySQL converts this into this format. Okay, so just it is giving the authentication and all the capital letters or belongs to the keywords, and according to our specification. Okay, though we are not given returns as a capital letter, but it has taken. Now it missed out that NoSQL, rather it has scoped that reads SQL data and deterministic and begin. These statements are as usual, friend, because between begin and end, it is a typical programmer hold actually. Maybe before that particular thing, it is into the corresponding function creation and all these kind of the data. But whereas if I am talking about the other considerations, it is pretty easy, how we are making use of that particular convention and all the things, right? Okay. So this is the way how you can call a function with the help of the select statement. And moreover, within that select statement, just you can mention the function name along with the parameter information, or else you can right click on this particular schema and like that you can execute the appropriate function. Okay, so this is how you can refer the usage of the functionality and as well as running of this particular code. Now what I will do is, guys, just I will take a pause here. Okay, so just I want to ask you something like, so just you try to give this narration to me. Create a function to return skill of the employee uh, by sending the by taking the employee number as input. Okay, so for this, just you need to project the simple code, because I tried to habitate. I want to you try. I want you to try also. So just you can mention that particular thing. I'll wait for 3 minutes, friends. No problem. So just you can improvise, and I'll keep open this statement for you. Okay, and yeah, at output area result also, so that you can have a look of this. So just make use of this convention and you try to pick up the skill set of the employee based on the employee number. Okay, so now it is 10:59. That means 11:4. I will see the comments along with the old comments also. Okay, and then I'll give you some other example to consolidate our understanding of the functions. Okay,
Sir,
right.
sir,
Yeah, who is
can
that?
you show the table,
Table, output
the
table.
employee table which has skills?
Yeah, yeah, okay, okay. You mean to say employee data, na? You want to
Yes,
see?
sir.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
right click on the tables. Here, friends, you can instantly open that. So just you see employees and you click on that. Yeah. So it is having employee number, birth date, first name, last name, gender, and hire date. And but I want to, or else you do one thing. Maybe I want to get the hire date of the employee. Date type you have to give. There is a, it's not the integer return, but it's not the decimal return. It is a date type of the return. And I am having one more example to observe the system date and all. Okay, so no problem, because employee data is not having the skill. So it is having the birth date, first name, last name, gender, and hire date. Just you can make use of this particular hire date. Accordingly, you can process. Okay. And friends, one more thing, the database which I am using is not with you. I'll do one thing. I'll give some kind of the .sql files to you, and you can import that. Hope you are knowing about importing. So simple. So file, just go to open SQL script, and whatever the data I'm having, like that you can easily import. Okay, by selecting this, automatically it is going to execute. That is one option. Other options would be there. Let me check. So because those other options are really helping us to simply execute the things, I'll show you that, because one option is directly you can pick up and run the SQL script directly. The database would be populated. Generally, friends, in our environments and in the projects also, you will be given the design document and .sql, so that you can directly go and run those particular things without creating databases or employee table or whatever the tables again and again, because most of our development is related to the select statement and functions and procedures. But you are spending most of the time in creation of the table, establishment of the constraints and all. But that is not the case in every time. Already existing database and table would be there, and I want to pick up that information. That's all. Okay, so that is what. So take your time. So by 11:06 we'll discuss, and let me see what is your understanding on the functions, right? Yes, friend, this is the idea, friends. Actually, see, got it. So generally, we are working with the schemas now. So in schemas,
whatever the data we are having, that particular information would be available. Let me clear all the things so that you can easily understand. And this is also right. This is we have seen already. Procedure done. This is also procedure. Okay. Now observe here, friends. Suppose I'm cleaning this. Generally, we work with the schema, but whereas if you go to the administration, there is one tab called management. Within the management, we are having the data import or restore. Data import or restore. And I will be sending you some kind of the SQL documents in the Slack mode. What you can do is just you download those things. Maybe you are having in downloads or something. So just to click on this actually, it opens as a nice dialog box actually. It's this particular thing. What it does is there is import from dump. Okay. This is one thing, and you can see the import progress also. So you click on this, select, and here you need to select whatever the wherever you are having the data. So within this PC, in the downloads, maybe in documents or wherever, because all I have used now, so it is not showing. So generally what you can do is just you can select that particular thing and just to go to the import progress. It is showing us the progress of the document. So simply what it does is just you can it allows us or else you can select this thing also and SQL. Now you can easily see that. Okay, rather than selecting this thing because it is our Indium operated, so it is not allowing us to do. Or else you can do this thing rather than selecting, and you can select from the self-contained file. Select this thing, and what I'm doing is album, though it is there, just I'm for the demo purpose I'm showing to you. Open this, and what you can do is guys, just you can see the progress. Okay, start import, just to click on the start import. Don't get confused, don't select the first option, it is not allowing us. Just to select the second option and move to the next tab actually, import progress, and then you start import. Okay, just it is importing. Now what you can do, that is the first file. However, now what I'm doing is again going back, album I have imported. Now I want to import scratch. Open. Now selecting the other tab, import again. See how it is. This is a log file, friends, actually. Second one. Now go back to import from disk, self-contained file, select, bold, open, and then select the next tab, import again. It is writing some scripts, friends, if you observe. So if you keenly observe this first script, it is saying something to us. I have picked up some data and I am populating this particular information to our schema. Generally, while learning, so just will be providing that initial .SQL documents so that you can also try to get and import that particular thing. What I will do is I will supply this world and whatever the information we are having, album, all those kind of thing, and you download those things and select this thing. And how to come to this area is in the left panel you are having the administration, within the data import or restore, and if you click on this you will be guided by this particular window. Okay, and select the second radio button, so you will be allowed to browse the corresponding file databases, whatever you are having, and select either of or full of those particular databases one by one. And you click on the next tab and import. So first time if you are importing, import, just it is shows. And as we are doing multiple times, it is saying import again. And even you can see the progress bar and what is the kind of progress we are having. So like that, you can easily specify the usage of this particular import option without any uh, much time. Okay, so just you can make use of this particular import. because every time you need not spend much time on creation and establishment of the, the kind of table creation and constraints. Rather, you can focus on the selection, joins, or some kind of aggregate functions, and you can straight away run the functions and procedures. All these kind of things really helps you to understand the usage of this logic. Okay. So with this, what we can do is just we can have another example. But before um, taking that particular example, what I will do is let me pick up some other examples to understand the. By the way, just after completion of this one more example, what I will do is I'll ask you to differentiate between function and as well as the procedure, so that you can have a look on that. And this error code, okay, 1418 also one of the important thing where you can specify the understanding of okay, so how we can make use of the convention of specifying these error codes, NoSQL, or maybe some kind of the deterministic, or else reads SQL data. Okay, all these are all the kind of the conventions where you can perform the activity. Now I'm pulling one more example, friends, here. So rather than typing and taking much time, so just I will give you some example code here. So we'll try to execute that particular code, and I will try to understand the code initially. So what I will do is just I am getting the code for you. Just to observe here, guys, the flow is very simple, like how we have done. Just this particular line by line, we'll try to understand, and then automatically we'll end up what exactly this function is doing. The typical delimiter. So just we are specifying the double dollar, and we are creating a function named emp underscore info. Just we are taking the first name of the corresponding employee and last name of the employee. And you need not limit yourself by only one parameter. You can give any number of the parameters, maybe as first name, last name, something like that. Okay, so now always you need not return the type whatever the data you are reading. That's what I said. If you are taking the employee number, you need not return always the integer kind of the data. Maybe that is decimal data, or sometimes, if I'm taking the input as the employee number, I may return the varchar also. Like, because just I have given the task like, okay, returning the skill of the employee by reading the employee number. So here we are trying to take first name and last name as the input parameters, and we are trying to return some decimal. Okay, maybe related to the salary or whatever the application. Now, as I said, either you can use the three, that means a deterministic, NoSQL, reads SQL data, or else you can end up your function creation with a single word also. That is your wish. No matter whether you are using three or you are using only one, never mind. The function created by automatically created by MySQL. If you are not giving anything, definitely it opposes. Okay, the reason, the document I'll share with you by today end of the day, and so that you can have a look on that and come back to me. And the logical part here, friends, because there are, it seems, multiple select statement are there, but it's perfectly all right. Simple only. So, but we are tagging all these individual statements as a function. Now, first thing is maximum salary. What we are trying to declare here, Vmax from date, and just what we are gaining is just we are specifying in the select statements itself the date when he has joined that person, and we are going to pick up the salary from that particular date. Okay, something like that we are planning. So here the two variables we have declared, one is the date and second is the salary data. Okay, so and these two are the variables which we are going to use in the function. Now let us spend some time to understand this particular select statement. What we're doing is select max of from date, which gives the highest date, and just we are storing that particular date into the Vmax from date. Of course, in the employee data, we are having that information, and we are joining the same, okay, with respect to the salaries data. So what here we are doing two things, friends. One is we are picking up that from date, maximum from date from the employee table, and we are matching the employee number within the salary and employee number within the employee. And where condition is pretty simple. This time what we are doing is two manipulations we are doing. One is, however, we have created some p first name, parameter first name, parameter last name. Now what I am doing is here I am checking that from employee first name is equal to whatever the name given by the developer in the function running, and last name also should equal to that thing. Maybe if I am giving Praveen Kannan, Praveen as the first name, Kannan as the last name. Ashulochan Sahu, Ashulochan is first name and Sahu is the last name. Like that, the employee may be there, and accordingly, I am equating that employee first name, last name from the parameters of the function. And before that, however, we found that maximum date from the employee data, and as usual, we are joining the salaries and as well as the employee information. Okay, joining salaries and employee information. Here you can see the usage of the max, and we are assigning that data into the variable of the program, and we are using the join, and we are using the end operation in the where. Okay, so how this is something like which is multiple options we are performing in the same functionality. It all depends on the logic, friends, maybe. And if you are referencing the second one, we try to understand, we'll try to understand this particular thing. Now what? Now we got some information of first name and last name, and we have stored that maximum date also, but we have not done any other thing, friends. We have not implemented any other aspect, but now we can see what we are selecting here is s dot salary, and we have declared one more variable called salary here. What we are doing, this salary we are posting to this v salary declared in the program, and from employee, and here the typical join condition between employee and salaries on the same grounds, employee number. Because see, if though you are giving the first name and last name based on the employee number only, we are going to because there is no first name and last name in the salaries, because according to the requirement of that particular join condition, both employee and salary should have the common information in both the tables, and we know that employee number is common in both employee and salaries data, so that we are computing the equation of e dot employee number equal to s dot employee number. Now what we are doing is where e dot first name equal to p dot first name, as usual how we have done earlier, and e dot last name equal to p dot last name. And now we are comparing one more thing. So here in the salaries, we are having the from date, where this particular date we are equating to our date, whatever we have mentioned. Because from the employee data, we picked up this particular from date and we stored this to Vmax from date. Now we are making use of that particular variable. Okay, and the from date, whatever I'm having, I'm equating to this thing. So now the salaries data, whatever I'm having, within that salary, I'm having some from date column that is given to the max from date. And from that particular date, I want to return the salary. So maybe if I want to get a specification of multiple records related to a particular member, I can make use. Suppose the point is like this. We asked some of the employees to register for a course, and you spend some 3 to 4 months of the time, and based on your spending, we are going to add some incentive of $50 every month. That is the commitment. But only the thing is, after 4 months or after 5 months, whatever the joining date or whatever the from date you mention, after completion, after submission of that proof of certification, then whatever the time you spent to acquire that particular certification, will give the incentive on those particular months. Okay, so I mean to say, assume that we started preparing for certification from February. Now, July, Sahu and Harish, Praveen could have completed this certification, maybe in their specialization. So they will be added February, March, April, May. Okay, all these particular June also even these 5 months incentives would be added to their salary in the next coming salary in the next cycle. So, but somewhere they have to start now. That is nothing but the from date where they are starting and all. So this particular statement, what it gives is it is trying to give fetching the appropriate information based on the first name and last name, and it is going to return some value. That value is nothing but a salary value, because finally you can see that the salary value we are going to get related to the from date of the employee, whatever the employee data we are having. Okay. Now, there is one problem, na employee info. First, we have to check whether this employee info is there in the employees, the corresponding functions. Yes, it is there. So what I can do for this, just I am clicking on this option. Okay, so schema we don't want. So just you can you can click on this and functions, employee info, right click, drop. Okay, automatically it is going to drop. Now right click, refresh. Okay, if anything is not affected, friend, just you can refresh on that. Okay, so just SQL is providing that option, and go back to this. Now I can easily select this particular statements and I can run this. Okay, so it's not showing anything. Okay, created the function employee info without any problem. Now, how do you run this particular thing, friends? Basically, the running of this particular thing is simple. Just I need to select employee info, and I should give the corresponding data items. Okay, whatever the first name, last name I am having. So what I will do is I can pick up um, select star from employees employees table, limit some 10 records, so that I want to run this. Oh, again I am running everything now, sorry. Okay, so now what I am selecting is here Sumant PEAC. These two guys, this first name and last name. Let me see what's going to happen. So how do I call the function, friend? Select. Just you copy paste the function name emp info, copy employee info. What is the first name, friends, here? Sumant.
Sumant.
Yeah, either you can copy or else you can type by seeing, because we don't know now whatever the name of the employees, comma, and PEAC. Okay. According to this function, friend, just to have a look on this, let me close this output area so that we can have the clarity. Now, in the last two statement, just I have picked up the employees data and second one, but in the function, it is only demanding us to give the first name and last name, nothing else. Okay, two parameters. That's what we selected, these two first name and last name from the employee data. Now you can run only this thing. Okay, now it has given the information of this employee with first name and last name. From that particular date, it has fetched the corresponding salary. So according to this particular logic, just this is a self-made logic, friend. Just I have taken some scenario and I pushed out all these particular select statement and maximum from date, and from that I want to select all the employee data related to that salary information. Maybe you can take like this. Maybe in the specified, in the stipulated time, or stipulate from the stipulated date, how many certifications he has done, something like that. So these functions are very flexible. What I'm saying here is maybe these functions, once you store these functions and at any point of time, you can pick up those particular functions and you can write your own code. And any number of times you can make use of these kind of the functionalities. So with this and one more small corollary I'm having, let me pick that particular thing for you guys. That particular corollary I have stored somewhere. If I could get that, I can, because that is related to some kind of the information where I would implement the date functionalities. No problem. After break also I can show you that. No issue. So only the thing is just that is very much helpful. Is a common kind of the aspects where I can use to work with the system date and all those kind of the functionalities. 1 minute. Some example code I had. Okay, no problem. I will pick for you. But in the meantime, let me go through which are all the responses I got. So, and meantime, friends, one more thing, one more important aspect. By this time, you would have got some nice understanding of the procedure and as well as the function kind of thing. Just I am asking you, stored procedure versus function. So these two aspects, maybe even you feel that is a small distinction, please let me know so that I can have the understanding of okay how you guys are grasping these functions and as well as the stored procedures. And now it's time to have a specification of what exactly you have responded to my queries. Yeah, first I'm taking this predefined functions. Vedanta. You can apply them directly without putting extra effort in creating them. Yeah, of course. One important thing is while designing the languages and packages, the developers felt that maybe some common things can be customized. Actually, length of the string and getting the substring or maximum, minimum, or some kind of the logarithmic functions, cos, sine, and you need not again go back and invent these things because we are having some additional tasks to perform, like according to the client requirement, according to the project demands. You can embed all those kind of the points. That is the first thing. So that they provided along with the documentation, will be getting the uh, corresponding support related to the default functionality, though are nothing but the predefined or built-in functions. Sahu says already available with the programming language, which can be used directly, maybe in Java or Python or whichever. Harish says a built-in function, a function that is already available in a programming language, application or any other tool, as mentioned by as mentioned in the discussion. Predefined functions built in software and does not need to be created by a programmer. Very good. Satish says built-in functions can be accessed by end users. And Praveen has given some answer like predefined functions is built into the software and doesn't need to be created by programmer. Built-in function, the system provided these functions and stored them in the library. Perfect. So the library is a word where in some programming language we may using the library and we may use the package. Okay, like that we're having some kind of things, and especially in Python oriented, we commonly use Cbound library, Matplotlib library, scikit-learn library, like that. Excellent libraries are there. Okay, so similarly in other programming languages, we're having the predefined libraries. And Bharati says a set of subroutines that perform standard mathematical functions included in a program is a little bit distinct definition. Maybe he is talking about logarithmic, cos, sine, or whatever the trigonometrical functions I have said. Certainly, because it's not always the mathematical or, but of course, majority of languages support those things. But the point here is, apart from that, we are having the string manipulations also. We're having string manipulations or some other kind of aspects would be there so as to directly use and perform the logics. And Srinidhi says predefined built into the software and doesn't need to be created by programmer built in. Generally, what they do is they create some library, and within that, and this library is something like which is our which is like our directories, friends. Actually, so a directory is something like which helps us to understand all the common data items into a one location. Here also you can use the same kind of the terminology. And Janeswar says these functions are already in the system that gives us answers in easy way while using. Yeah, excellent. Karthik says function that comes with the programming language. Simple and elegant. Next thing is if you are referencing again the one more question I asked you to create a function just by taking the employee number, and we need to get the skill set of the employee. And Bharati come up with hire date, employee number, returns date. Okay, he's giving that thing deterministic. Declare we hire date, date type, and select hire date into, yeah, we hire date from employees where employee number. Simple, that's all. Return we hire date. Excellent. And you can give the employee hire date because hire date, yeah, you are taking employee number only now. Okay, no problem. Right, very good. And Wasim has come up with one more thing, skill set. And here employee skill he has taken as a program variable, and skill name into emp skill from employees. Just we are joining the skill table and employee information, employee skill, that's it. Okay, Sahu has come up with one more idea. Find employee hired here by taking input of employees. Okay, just a delimiter. He has taken some find hired date, enter employee number, return date of that hiring process. Maybe he has used that employee number, and I want to get the hire date of the employee. Hire date he has declared as a programmatical variable, and hire date into hired year from employee where perfect returning the year. Okay. Okay, Praveen says Praveen Kannan has given some he has taken the input employee ID, and what he is returning again he is returning the hire rate. Very good. That's all, guys. Only the thing is whatever the capabilities we are having in the SQL, only we need to nicely portray it into our procedure and as well as the function. Don't worry, in a single day you may not be having everything in your hand, but that's what why I am forcing you to implement some SQL aspects, and why I'm forcing to give some kind of talk on Agile and all these quick learning kind of thing is because it's not only writing the queries, it is always which one I need to select and which is the option I can optimize, because don't forget to optimize the things, friends. And of course, for the optimizations, again, I will reserve one more session. Of course, in the discussion of the projects, each and every, while explaining that particular project to the corresponding batches, I'll try to scope that optimizations also. Maybe at least I want to pull some 5 to 10 optimization techniques in MySQL usage, so that you can nicely use those different optimization techniques into our whatever the code we are going to implement. Very good, Harish. And then Janeswar, he also took that employee number, and he returned that employee hire date. Very good. Okay. So, and now I put one more question here, stored procedure versus function. Um, just to take some time, friends, because Sahu has given the answer, and Praveen, that long answer, Sravanti, Harish, Sravanti, very good, Bharati, Wasim, Janeshwar. Okay, so all, because the group is dynamic, friend. That's all I can say. Because why I love to hear from you is you always try your level best. Okay, so just will let me spend some time to clarify what exactly the stored procedure and function. Just we are we'll take break at 11:40, friends. But before that, let me spend some time with what is your understanding related to procedure and function, so that in a way we can revise these stored routines also. So stored procedure is not meant to return a value every time we use it. Very good. Rather, it is useful to perform some task on database. Excellent. But stored function returns a value every time we call it. Perfect. Stored procedures are called with call statement, where functions are called with the select statement. That's all. What else is required? Okay. So very good. Allowed it, Sahu. Okay. So Praveen has come up with some analogy of differentiating functions and as well as procedures. Functions can have only input parameters. We cannot call stored procedure from a function. We call a function using select statement. First thing is input parameters won't be there, Praveen, because we need not explicitly mention the input parameters and even output also. The function makes sure that the return value. Okay, because the reason behind this is in and out parameters are optional. Even while discussing that procedures also, we have seen that in and out parameters are purely optional. Whenever there is a requirement, we can give that in and out. But whereas in case of the function, it's mandatory. Maybe we have seen some 3 different functions. In all those particular 3, we have taken the usage of that in and usage of that. Definitely we have created one parameter, that is employee number somewhere, and in another example we have taken that first name and last name as a parameter. Okay, so that is what, and every function should return explicitly some value. And you're right, the third statement I too agree. Calling a procedure and but function is the usage of the select statement. Reason behind these guys, uh, because we are using select avg of salary, select max of salary, select min of salary, like how we are using our built-in functions. Similarly, user defined functions also you can use, friends. Hope you got that point. Like select avg of salary, select max of salary, how we are scoping. In the similar way, we also doing the usage of our own functions. So that is the advantage of simply with the select statement, I can scope the functions. So procedure input or output parameters. Very good. And and procedures can have can be called with the call. We cannot call a procedure. Yeah, perfect. Okay, nice. Now coming to the other option, Sai Sravanti says stored procedures are stored in parsed and compiled state in the database, can perform any operation on database objects, including select and DML. Majority of the times, friends, suppose I want to run some kind of the insert, update, or delete kind of the operations in a corresponding database. So in that particular case, it is always preferable to go for the procedure, because function is something like you are very keen about implementing something, and as a part of that implementation you want to return some value as a result of that thing. Because procedure itself, see what exactly procedure is. I asked you to give some presentation, and I asked you to submit some documents related to the evaluation too, individual evaluation, and I asked you to give some presentations on the group wise presentation. See, this is a process actually. This is a process, but now the outcome is, after completion of the entire course, we are following some process. Maybe we are getting some transition. Okay, now we are very confident and we have learned something related to the functions, stored procedures, triggers, cursors, like that. And I can confidently utilize those things. That is the outcome. So procedure outcome is something like this, because multiple options are there and we are always striving for changing the state of the data. That is something, but functions are not that, friends. Function, I would say, suppose if I am giving the name of a learner, maybe Harish, then I should know that how many marks he has scored altogether. Maybe if I'm averaging his individual performance, and his group performance. Two directions we are verifying. Na? Individual performance we have taken 2 evaluations, and group wise also we are performing 2 evaluations. Of course, project if I am separating, then that is a single evaluation. Now what I need to do is project is one component. His two individual performances are two components, and his involvement in the group presentation. So out of these particular 3 components, what is his score? Maybe that is the function. If I'm giving Harish name or Harish employee ID, I should able to get the result of whatever the things I'm having. So this is how you can specify the usage of the appropriate convention, right? And now that's how you proceed with the functions and procedures. And Harish is again coming up with the stored procedure, can have input and output. Yeah, in stored procedures, transactions playing a vital role, friends. And functions, we cannot use transaction in UDF. Okay, so let me scope that also. Transaction also, I'll come to that. Size Revanthi functions are compiled and executed at runtime. Only select statement, DML statement like update and insert. Definitely, because they are all with the procedures mainly. And Bharati says stored procedure allows select as well as DML statement in it. Stored procedure, the output parameter is optional, but in case of the function, select statement and must return a value. Excellent. The same stored procedure can return 0 or single or multiple values. So that is the advantage, friend, because Wasim always pull up another dimension actually. That's what I always encourage Wasim to participate in the discussions according to call, but function will return a value. Procedure has in and out parameters, while function has only input parameter. Very good. Perfect. Janeswar says function must return a value and stored procedure is optional. We can call function from stored procedure. Yeah, of course we can call a function, but cannot call stored procedure. For this is also one of the important points, friends. We cannot use in select where statements in stored procedure, but it can be used in functions. Yeah, very good. The list goes on. Okay, so um, because let me see Vedant how he is contributing. Returns a value every time accept only one input parameter, one or multiple, friends. Here just now we have seen first name last name kind of things, and procedure doesn't return a value every time. Yeah, it won't return actually, but maybe it returns to the program and you can display that. We may not directly capture the return value from the stored procedure. That is also one of the important thing. Okay, so just okay, bahut ho gaya friends. So just we are taking a small break here, guys. So then we'll come back and discuss the another concept called triggers, which is very exciting. And but there are little complexities with the triggers. I mean, in the execution, not in the understanding. So just we'll try to have a discussion on that particular trigger after this. Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys. Any doubts before leaving?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Sahu, go ahead.
I have pasted on the chart.
No, you can ask. However, you are unmuted now. Again, going back and all.
Okay,
It's
sir.
not a
Okay.
best optimization
Uh,
technique. Yeah.
sir, it's about the skill scenario.
Ah,
Like an employee can have multiple skill sets. So
ah,
like machine learning, data analysis or SQL.
ah.
Then we can store it with a super key as a surrogate key.
Surrogate. Yeah, you're right. I know you. You come to that point definitely.
Then in that case, when we perform the join, the
Ah,
left table data will be come multiple times based on the right table data. So
exactly.
how will you optimize that query?
Yeah,
There
optimization.
any
Can we? And now one question I am asking you, Sahu, here. Can I store the data as a single table? What I have asked. Single table is not possible, na? As I said,
no?
because skill, if I am storing in a single column, it won't give any advantage for us.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so because we are very basic to first normal form. According to the first normal form, every column should support the atomic. Now, what you can
Yes.
do, your typical employee number, join date, and all these things as a master table. And in the foreign key, even in foreign key, I can return the numbers, na? employee number you can take as a foreign key, Sahu. And what you can do is that employee number, suppose Sahu is having employee number 10. Okay. So with that Sahu employee number, maybe he's having data science, machine learning, advanced SQL, PySpark. Though it is repeating, no problem, na? Because in the employee master table, I'm having a single employee number for the Sahu. Whereas in the foreign key table, I'm having multiple entries for Sahu. Because Sahu every time, at least for 3 months, he's registering some kind of the submit and he's coming up with some kind of the certificate in his hand. So in that particular case, we have decided, okay, maybe Sahu, Satish or Bharati or Karthik, whoever, we are having the master table, and in the detail table, every time if they submit one certificate for us, and we are going to populate the data into the detail table. Okay, and of course you can easily join the data and you can pick up the data, right? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
that is one option. That is one best option, because and one more thing, friends. Here in the normalization, if you observe, we hope you are there in the session, Sahu, if I'm not wrong. In the normalization class,
Yes,
you
sir.
are
Yes,
there.
sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
there we have seen like we have applied some 2NF and 3NF. Every time, if any relation is not satisfying the normal form, or maybe if I'm taking 2NF, partial dependency. If I'm taking the 3NF, it is a transitive dependency.
Transitive
If such kind of things are there, what we have done, we have taken that particular failure relation and we managed that particular left side as a key. Okay, na? So AB implies C, Sahu, and B implies D. But B is partially dependent on this particular candidate key. Now this time we make that particular B as a key actually. Okay, so either that particular key may be a primary key, but in our example, whatever we are talking, one key as a primary key we have taken, that is a master table of the all the employees. Another key is the skill set of the employees, because in Indian we always encourage the developers to register for the courses and come up with some certifications like that. So though that particular detailed table is repeated, but that itself is a foreign key. But my question here is, can a detailed table maybe having another primary key along with the foreign key? Hope you got the point.
Detailed. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, master table is one thing, Sahu. Master table, however, we are having the primary key. Now, in the detail table, your details were repeated because as you are very interested in learning and all. Now, my question is, can I place one more primary key along with this foreign key in the
Yes.
detail table? Of course, yes, of course,
Yes.
you are right, because maybe this particular data is acting as a master tables for some other data. Can you give some scenario here? Friends, hope
Like
you are
here,
with us. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
here we can use the surrogate key as the serial number
Yeah. No, that is one thing. Um, yeah, you're
or
right,
the
Sahu,
certification
because
number, course
right,
certification
right.
number.
That is correct. Because LinkedIn certificate you are doing, or something like Databricks certification you are doing, or Oracle certification, Microsoft certification. Always those certifications are individual numbers, na? Though you are repeating them, data science, machine learning, or whichever, because sometimes, we want to check the authentication also. Roughly, members are putting some certification and they are giving some unique number. But to maintain that particular convention, there also you can maintain the primary key in this formats. Maybe data science, I'm having some unique number. And but one more point here, friends. Why we are talking about the surrogate key is, though that certification number is unique, but a processing of the certification number and getting that certification number may be some difficult. I mean, there is a long string, and every time referring to that particular point may be tedious. So it is always preferable to come up with some kind of the sequential sequence number generator or auto increment, and that particular thing can be taken as a primary key, maybe serial number or certification count, or else certification serial number, like that. Certification number is different, friends. That means that is Microsoft or Databricks may be giving our unique ID. That is, however, that is a primary key. But we are talking about the surrogate key. That particular surrogate key is something like which is the serial number. Okay, and apart from that, however, the employee number may be repeated because one member can have the multiple certifications. Yeah, this is the way, friends, how we need to discuss. It's not always a one-sided, and I appreciate Sahu and Sharif is not there in the session, and Wasim. They are keep on asking the doubts. Harish also, Praveen. So because that is the way how we can empower our minds. Don't hesitate to ask because even I can also explore more. I can give my experience in front of you so that you can also learn some additional aspects apart from the actual discussion. Above and beyond, you need to have these kind of the discussions, which really helps you to face the real time scenarios. Okay. Okay, thank you guys, and
Thank you,
we'll be
sir.
back. But yeah, thank you, Sahu. Appreciate your efforts in bringing in the nice discussion. And I always encourage you guys to ask the doubts and put some. Maybe you may feel that is a silly doubt or layman doubt, friends. It's not always because the same doubt may be hidden in some other mind, and I can add some additional scenarios to that. Don't feel that because training is for that only. Okay, it's not a FM radio or something like that. You need to ask doubts and clarify. Don't feel that whether that is a silly or simple or layman, because those doubts are really helping us to understand the aspects in a different dimension. So 11:52 guys. Now we'll be back by 12:15. Okay, so no, not 12:15. Sorry. So 12:10 will come. Okay, 12:10. Yeah, 12:12 will come. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, sir.